friends, and welcome to Brewing Success, where growth is the mission, change is the reward, and progress is the goal. I am your host, Andrea Gebhardt. I'm a former educator turned passionate entrepreneur whose desire to create impact has never wavered. I have spent the last decade teaching, mentoring, and coaching people on how to create success in their lives and businesses with proven strategies and systems that not only bring about change, but big results. When it comes down to it, teaching is my specialty, leadership is my jam, and inspiring you to live a bigger, fuller life is what I'm all about. This podcast will give you the knowledge and tools you need to brew success in almost any area of your life. You're going to walk away each week feeling inspired, motivated, and ready to step outside your comfort zone and into the next level of who you're meant to be. Now let's get into today's episode. Hey guys, welcome back to Brewing Success. My name is Andrea Gebhardt. I can't even say my own name. I thought for 2.2 seconds I'm going to delete that, but I'm not. I'm just going to leave it because you know what we do here? We do real here. I am really here in my closet, aka my studio. I really need to get rid of that shirt. I haven't worn it in like 5 years, and we're really here. So again, welcome back. I'm Andrea Gebhardt. I am your host, and I'm so honored that you're choosing to spend your time with me today as I talk about some really incredible stuff. Listen, if you want to thrive in life, in business, and I know that's you because you're here, you're taking out time to listen to a podcast, to learn how to become more effective and efficient in life, to make more progress. So I know that you're the kind of person that wants to thrive in life, in business. I'm going to let you in on something, okay? Success isn't about working harder. It's about working smarter. And systems, like we talked about on the last episode, are exactly how you do that. And last week we talked about how habits and routines and systems supercharge your success. And today I'm going to break down 10 actionable tips to help you build systems that simplify your life, increase your efficiency, and help you achieve your goals. So remember, systems matter because they reduce stress, they create consistency, and they drive results. So whether you're putting a system in place for your everyday life or your business, you are sure to become way more efficient, effective, experience way more progress, and a whole lot less overwhelm, which is actually my favorite part of systems. So today I'm going to give you some practical tools that you can put in action right away. I want you to see and feel the difference that systems can have in your life. So here are my top 10 tips for building winning systems. Tip number one, start with your pain points. I want you to identify areas in your life or your business that feel chaotic, stressful, unproductive. If it's not going well, know that it could be going better. If whatever it is, if it causes stress, then it's probably a mess. And if it's an area or something that you're not making progress in, know that something needs to change. And this is where systems come into play because systems create order, they create clarity, and they give you the steps that are necessary to make actual progress. Listen, you're not a truck stuck in the mud, so no more spinning your wheels. We're going to change that. It's time to get onto the road to success. So, for example, if you are always scrambling to figure out what to post on social media, that is a pain point. And so a content planning system could be your solution. If you're a mom in the overstimulated era of mothering and you're always stressed about what to make for dinner and you have no idea what to make for dinner, well, then a meal prep and planning system might be incredibly beneficial for you. So I want you to think about one area of your life or your business or both that feels overwhelming. And that's where we are going to start. Tip number two, you're going to get clear on your goals. Listen, a system without a clear goal is just busy work. Okay. You need to define what you are trying to achieve. Are you wanting more organization? Are you trying to achieve more organization? Are you trying to achieve more order? Or are you trying to achieve a specific outcome or result? You have to know what it is you want to achieve so that you can create a system that aligns to the goal. And the more clear the goal is, the better the system will actually be, which is why I often tell people and mentor people when they're setting that goal, it's not just like a blanket idea or I want more of this or I want to experience that. It's like, give it to me down to the number, the percentage. You want to increase? Okay. But people are like, oh, I want to increase sales. I'm like, that's cute. By like how much? Oh, I don't know. Well, if you don't know, we're not going to do it. 25%. We have to know. We have to know what it is we want so we can backtrack from there and design a system that aligns to it so we actually get to the goal. So for example, if your goal is to grow your email list, your system might include something like setting up automated workflows and scheduling time to write newsletters. If your goal is to acquire new clients or customers, your system might include things like a certain number of reach outs and or follow-ups and or value-based content shares every single day. If your goal is to cook healthier meals for your family, your system might include meal prepping and planning. So when you think about the pain point that we discussed earlier, write down a specific goal that you want to accomplish in that area. And I stop here and I'm just going to give you like something to think about because I think this is really practical and relatable for most people. But this really works when you think about like weight loss, right? Pain point. I want to lose weight. Pain point. I want to lose weight because I am struggling to keep up with my kids. I want to lose weight because I want to be healthier than my parents. I want to lose weight because I have an event coming up and I want to look and feel my best. Okay, great. We have a pain point. Now, how much weight do you want to lose? How many inches do you want to lose? What size dress or pants is it that you're trying to like get into? We have to know if we're going to go down 2 dress sizes versus 4, because that's going to change our system, right? That's going to change what we actually do. We want to be really clear on that number. And you'll see why in my next example, because tip number 3 is to break it down. We have to break it down. We have to identify the key actions that we have to take. And this matters because goals, listen, I know that goals can feel overwhelming unless they're broken down into smaller, actionable steps. So we have to identify the daily or weekly actions that are required to achieve the goal. The daily and or weekly actions that are required to achieve the goal. This step is crucial. This is where intentions come into play. This is the part that makes or breaks the system. Tip number 3 is the tipping point. So you have to simplify big goals into smaller, repeatable actions. The simpler and more repeatable it is, the more likely you are going to follow it through. So if you're wanting to lose weight and you know that you are going to eat more vegetables every day, right? That becomes part of that break it down. We eat more vegetables every single day. I'm going to eat less of whatever. I'm going to drink more water and less coffee. That would never happen in my life because coffee is basically water with color. Okay. So it's water with benefits. That's what coffee is. So these are the things that we need to think about. So for example, instead of saying something like, I need to post on social media more, break it into steps. I need to brainstorm content ideas and then batch create posts and then schedule them weekly. So this is ultra effective because when you break down tasks, you turn them into manageable chunks of action that feed into one another and eventually results in reducing overwhelm and making success feel more attainable. And I think that's my favorite part about breaking it down is because it makes it more attainable. Like the thought of losing 30 pounds to anybody would be incredibly overwhelming, but going for a 30-minute walk every day, that makes it seem more achievable. Eating more fruits or vegetables, it makes it seem more attainable. Drinking X amount of cups of more water every day, that makes it more attainable. So the breaking it down, finding those key actions that you need to take either daily or weekly to meet that goal. Tip number 4, automate where possible. Okay, automate where possible. So in other words, that basically just means like simplify where possible. So I want you to get good at using resources and tools that help you make better use of your time, especially when it comes to repetitive tasks. So here are some examples of some automation tools: social media scheduling platforms like Later or Hootsuite or Planoly, financial tools like QuickBooks or Honeybook to manage bookings and clients and things of that nature. Email automation with tools like MailChimp. I use MailChimp. I love MailChimp. I have a newsletter, guys. If you don't know, now you do. Go to the website, leadlikeandreagephardt.com, brewingsuccess.com. Go grab a hold of my newsletter every Sunday, right? So I have a system in place for this. The only way I'd be able to do this if I had a system in place. So I literally sit down on like a Sunday at the beginning of the month and I write all the emails for the whole month. And then I go preload them into MailChimp and schedule them. So every Sunday, you guys are getting emails that I put together. Kind of neat, right? Now, could you imagine if I was trying to like do that all by myself? It would take forever and take so much time. But I have MailChimp as kind of like my mail assistant, if you will, automating that process for me. You can use content creation automation with things like ChatGPT. I mean, there's so many options out there. Like technology these days practically makes it impossible to, like have to do everything by yourself, I guess I could say. So we're going to automate where possible. So remember, if the task repeats regularly, it's worth finding a way to automate it. All right. Tip number 5, create routines to support your system. So systems thrive on consistency, and routines actually make consistency easier. So when it comes to making the system work, you gotta create a routine around it. If you remember my episode last week, I talked about creating a system at home to manage laundry in my house. It was a pain point because it caused stress and it was overwhelming. And I realized at some point I needed to systematize it. So I created a routine. First, I designated one day a week for each person's laundry and another day of the week for linens and towels. And on that laundry day, there was a set time the laundry was done. And it was usually while the kids were at school, so that when they got home, they knew on their laundry day that one of their after school chores was going to be putting away their laundry. This made for a simple, easy routine that created more predictability and less chaos for all of us. The routine is the when you're going to put the system into action, right? And I love to use time blocks. I love to use reminders. Just so you guys know, you all have a built-in virtual assistant with either, Siri or Alexa or Google or whoever it is that you use. And you can have them set timers and you can have them set reminders to keep you on track and help keep your routines in order. So, for example, a morning routine can include reviewing your goals, clearing emails, and planning your day, all a part of a larger productivity system. So here's my challenge to you. Identify one habit or routine you can implement to support your goals. One habit or routine. So if you're working on becoming healthier, what's one daily habit you can do that contributes to your overall health and wellness? It could be going for a walk. It could be grounding. It could be taking your supplements. It could be eating a salad instead of a sandwich. There's just, so many different things. When it comes to your business, what's one habit or routine that you can implement to support your goal of growing your business or growing your customer base or whatever the case is? That's what you want to think about. Tip number 6, using tools to track your progress. Okay, so remember this. You cannot make progress in what you do not measure. This goes beyond jumping on the scale daily to see if your lifestyle changes are yielding a positive impact. By the way, who does that? Who eats healthy for like one day and then gets on the scale the next day to see if it worked? I laugh because I legit did that. I have an event coming up next month, speaking on stage. And so it's always like the month before I really dial it in. I'm like drinking my water because I don't want to look like a raisin on stage. Drinking my water. I'm eating my healthy foods. And so it's literally been just like a handful of days of, not eating the cookies that the kids have and the Girl Scout cookies that are in the pantry, whatever else. And I jumped on the scale this morning. I was like, oh yeah, right. It was like 2 ounces of a change in a positive direction. It's like, all right, lifestyle changes are working. And it's motivating. I get it. I totally do. But this goes beyond that. Okay. So, this has actually more to do with monitoring your progress often to stay on track and create desired outcomes. So for example, if the goal is to increase revenue by a certain amount monthly, you have to identify how much product needs to be sold, which correlates to a specific number of customers. And so you must check in often, weekly, if not daily, to see how you're progressing toward hitting that target amount. If you lack awareness of progress, you are not you're not going to make progress. If you're lacking awareness of progress, you're going to lack progress altogether. So you can use pen and paper to track progress. You can use apps to track your macros and your workouts, or apps to monitor your progress. There's lots of different ways that you can do that. But if you know, I need to grow my business revenue by this much, which means we need to sell this much, which means we need this many customers to buy this much in product, like all those things help. And then once we know what we need, we can break it down over daily goals and targets. And I actually teach this to my team. I'll break it down. It's going to mean something to maybe a handful of you, but nothing to the rest of you. But like you set your goal, your sales goal for the month, right? Here's my sales goal. You're either working to grow or you're working to secure or manage whatever sales number you hit the prior month. So you have your goal for the month. Then you take that total goal and you divide it over the number of days in the month. And then you know how much money in sales has to be generated every single day. We call it like daily point mapping or daily sales mapping. That gives you an idea. So you're able to track, monitor, and work towards that. And there's going to be some days where you exceed that amount, and there's going to be some days where you're under that amount, but it allows you to, so there's no surprises. You know exactly where your business is at all times. You know exactly what it's doing at all times. That way you can make real progress. That way you can make those teeny tiny little micro and macro adjustments throughout your month to make sure that you're progressing and working toward that goal of generating X amount of revenue that you set for yourself, right? So you can track and monitor in lots of different ways. You can track and monitor sales like leads, engagement. You can track and monitor pounds lost and inches lost and water drink and steps that you've taken and time in the gym and all of that. I mean, we have a really cool app at our Pilates studio. And when you go and you work out and you check in each of your workouts, it tells you like how many, like I've worked out 1,100 minutes last month. It tells me, and I'm like, hey, that's amazing. Now I'm like, how many more workouts have to get to 2,000 minutes? That's kind of cool. So lots of different ways to track and manage and monitor your progress. So I want to know, how are you right now? How are you currently tracking your progress? And if you just went like, well, if you're not tracking it, how will you know when you've succeeded? Listen, you are not meant to fly through life blindly. We are meant to go through life with intention and purpose. And this is a big part of that. So what are you going to do to track your progress moving forward? Because now that you know this, you got to put it in action, right? Now that we know better, we got to do better. So tip number 7, delegate and outsource. Top secret success hack coming in hot here, just so you guys know. You don't have to do everything yourself. You should only really be doing what only you can do. Everything else can be delegated and outsourced. You should spend your time and energy on projects and tasks that are within your strength zone. And again, just to reiterate, are only things that you can do. And as I'm sharing this with you, I'm thinking back to when I was in the classroom and I was teaching. And oh my gosh, like lesson planning and the photocopies and all the things that we always had to do every single week. And we had a system in place for it. We met as teachers after school on a Thursday, for example. Each one of us would like take a subject like language arts or math or science or history, like whatever. And we would plan it, and we'd come together and we'd share plans with the group. And then we would, okay, we'll take care of copies for language arts. You guys take care of copies for math. So we kind of shared the work. And then I remember that was still a lot. And then I remember this wonderful mother who was like, I would love to come volunteer, but I really didn't need her help in the classroom. She's like, I'll do anything. Do you need me to make copies? And I was like, oh my gosh, if she made copies, that would free up so much time for me. Sure, here you go. And this mom made my copies for my entire classroom for that entire year. And that freed me up to spend time designing lessons and doing things that only I could do, which actually made me happier and made me a better teacher, right? And so delegating and outsourcing is not a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of anything other than working smarter, not harder, like we talked about in the beginning here. So, for example, you can outsource administrative tasks to a virtual assistant, for example. You can delegate home chores to family members or hire help, right? You are not the only person in your house who can sweep the floor. Trust me, there are other people there who are capable of if they can hold a remote, they can hold a broom. That's the rule in my home. So you can outsource social media management. You can outsource social media content posting. You can delegate tasks within your team. You have people right now on your team who are amazing at creating content, who are amazing at writing copy, who are incredible at creating graphics, who are awesome at managing chats and doing different things of that nature. You have people on your team who are capable of doing really great things, but you're not delegating them because you think you have to do everything yourself. You think that you got to be in charge. And I know, listen, the hardest part about leadership, and well, most things, especially if you're type A overachiever like me, is feeling like relinquishing control is also putting the results at risk. But here's the deal. Delegation is liberation. Delegation is a sign of mature leadership. Delegation empowers others. That is like a gift. When you as a leader empower other people, delegation is a gift. Delegation strengthens the strengths of those around you and makes for a much more productive and efficient organization or team, whether it be in business or everyday life. Delegation is liberation. I feel like we need on a poster and we need to go march somewhere. Tip number 8, build in flexibility. This is big. I really want to emphasize this tip because systems shouldn't feel rigid. They should adapt to your life as it changes, meaning that systems are fluid and parts of your system are going to need adjusting from time to time, and you have to be open to remaining flexible for enhancements, life, and even like potential setbacks. So think about this, like if you're running a content system, but suddenly this big trend pops up, allow room to pivot and adjust your plan. If you have a system for your health and wellness and you have a kiddo home sick, you need to be able to pivot and adjust your plan. When life throws a wrench your way, do not throw that wrench into your system. That's the mistake that most people make. Instead, use the wrench to make minor, temporary tweaks and adjustments. When it comes to creating winning systems, I want to encourage you with this. It's okay to tweak or restart a system as needed. Systems should evolve as you do, which brings me right into tip number 9. Regularly review and refine your system. Systems should evolve as your goals and your needs change. Systems should evolve as you do. I want to encourage you to review your systems often and refine them when needed. You could review your systems every 90 days, for example, by simply asking questions like what is working, what isn't working, what needs to be modified, what needs to be modified or elevated. My brain today, let me tell you, what additional systems are needed. This review is going to help you refine what's in place and not only keep your systems operating at the highest level, but it helps keep you acutely aware of the inner workings and outer changes. So regularly review and refine your systems. Some additional ways that you can review your systems are questions like, are my systems still aligned with my goals? Because sometimes you know what happens? Our goals change. What knowledge or information have I acquired that could impact my systems. So what things have I learned? Maybe you've learned something new about social media, or maybe you've learned something new about team building, or maybe you've learned something new about communication, or maybe you've learned something new about health and wellness. And this new information impacts your system and might make you want to change some things. Might make you change the time of day you work out. It might make you change the way that you utilize social media. I mean, anything can happen. You can ask yourself, what feelings, thoughts, and or progress are my systems creating? And this is so good. This is like my favorite one because it really gives you a clear picture. So what feelings does this system give me? Like, am I frustrated with this system? Do I feel really good about it? Do I feel like it needs something else? Do I feel like something's missing? What thoughts do you have about this system? And what progress? So this makes us look, okay, it's been 30 days of the system, 60 days, 90 days of the system. So let's take the system and let's look at the results. Is the system actually generating results? If the answer is yes, great. How can we fine tune it and make it better so we get bigger results? Or if we're not getting the results we thought we were going to get, what's missing? What can be enhanced? What needs to be modified or elevated? I love this part because it keeps you in tune and in line with it. I'm going to tell you something, and it's probably going to be really hard for a lot of people to hear. The system that you were using a year ago isn't working right now. The system that you were using 5 years ago isn't working right now. The basics, the nuts and bolts of it, the foundational aspects of it will always kind of be in the right, because like houses are still built the same however many years later. They're still built concrete slab and then your frame. They're still built the same, but better materials are being used. See what I'm saying? Different types of angles. I don't know what it's called. I'm not in construction. Engineering is not my thing, but like different approaches, maybe different techniques of building a home have actually like changed for the better. So that's what I'm hoping that you're like kind of getting from this. So my practical advice for you here is to schedule these reviews, literally, like put them in your calendar. Tell Siri or Alexa to set a reminder and carve out time to really give your systems the attention that they need. After all, your systems are what contribute to the bigger picture. And if your view isn't clear, the picture may not develop properly. And then lastly, we have step number 10, which is celebrate those wins. Listen, progress is hard work. It is hard work. Progress takes time, it takes energy, it takes effort, it takes the willingness to fail, the ability to learn. It requires a lot, and taking the initiative to put in the work is worth celebrating alone. So kudos to you. I want you to make sure that you acknowledge and reward yourself for progress. Not only will it help you stay motivated, but it will reinforce the actions that create the routines that contribute to the system. So for example, if your system helps you stay consistent with workouts for a month, treat yourself to something that supports your fitness journey, like new gear or cute new workout clothes. If your system helps you make progress in your business, reward yourself with a gadget or a device or a paid subscription to a certain service that makes your business better or easier and aligns to your goals. If your system helps you simplify your life and reduce stress, treat yourself to a massage or some retail therapy or a day trip to your favorite place. Celebrating our wins are so important. Again, it helps keep us motivated and it keeps us excited. So when we're talking about celebrating, I want you to think about how you will celebrate your system when your system starts to show results. So right now, I want you to think about, okay, when I put the system in place for 30 days, when I reduce stress, when I get this laundry system figured out, when I meal prep and plan for 2 full weeks, and we like knock it out of the park, I'm going to treat the family to dinner somewhere, one of our favorite places, or I'm going to treat myself to one of my favorite places, right? So I love it. Today I've shared my top 10 tips for building winning systems. And not only will these systems like make life easier and business more efficient and results more attainable, but it'll prove to you that progress is what matters most and that progress is what gets us there. So it's progress is everything. You guys know, I believe that big time. It's also going to prove to you that you are capable of achieving whatever you set your mind to. Do you understand the power of systems? Systems give you the ability to unlock success. Systems make success more attainable. You could literally achieve anything you put your mind to when you put systems in place. You see, winning systems aren't about being perfect. They're about being consistent, intentional, and adaptable. So start small, stay committed, and watch how your systems transform your life and your business. And as we end this episode today, my challenge to you is this. Pick one tip, one of the 10 tips that I shared today, and implement it this week. I promise you it's going to be easier than you think, and you are more capable than you give yourself credit for. Listen, help me get this episode out. If you have a mom friend struggling to create balance, send this to her. If you have a friend who's doing all the things but not making the progress that she desires, send this to her. If you have a friend who has a business or a side hustle and you think this would be helpful to their journey, share this with them. Help me make systems a part of the success conversation. I appreciate you for taking the time to listen to this episode today, for hanging out with me on Brewing Success, where growth is a mission, change is the reward, and progress is the goal.